All right, what's going on, everybody? This is Professor Crypto Banana. Today, I am honored to have Justin Bebis with me on the call. In case you don't know, he is a big player in the Fantom ecosystem. You may know him about helping out with Byte Masons, Reaper Farm, etc. Thank you for joining me. And Justin, tell the audience a little bit more about yourself.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Professor Crypto Banana. I'm the founder, chief architect, customer service guy, software engineer, security engineer for Byte Masons. I kind of do everything, or a little bit of everything. I'm trying to get better at delegating, but I'm the founder of Byte Masons. I do a little bit of everything. Um, because of that, I have a pretty broad kind of domain knowledge and a pretty good perspective on the goings on. And I'm always happy to share it. I created Reaper.farm, if you've ever used that app. Um, Learn.ByteMasons.com is one of our kind of I like it a lot. It's a great place if you're looking for DeFi specific resources. And then, we have a team that's grown from 3 to 30 in the past, 4 months. And we have, a ton of really crazy projects in the works. So I hope you'll probably, if you don't know who I am now, know who I am in the next 6 to 12 months. Beyond that, know who the Byte Masons are and kind of what we do for Fantom, because a lot of what we do is business to business. So you as retail investors might not really see, but it is crazy high value work, and maybe not super exciting for the degens and apes, but it keeps things moving.
Right. So with like normal projects, I've noticed it's more like, okay, let's get the roadmap, let's get the hype going, let's keep going and going. But I've noticed that, Byte Masons took the opposite approach. It almost seems, as you just mentioned, like 20, 28 people on the team, that it's more building up the foundation and then start doing the projects, such as, getting the security down, the legalities, talking to lawyers, etc. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, we basically specialize in scaling DeFi operations. And it starts with security, goes into operations, going further into compliance, and kind of our biggest business, kind of bigger than Reaper, is the work we do with our clients and other projects in the space. We provide technical advisory and consultancy. We have some of the best lawyers in DeFi literally created a law firm just to serve us. And we kind of try to push the envelope as far as how can you create a DeFi company that can scale, one, and most importantly, and two, can remain kind of adaptive and agile, like you would expect of like a decentralized company. So it's kind of like we try to marry a lot of concepts from traditional organizations and companies, and we try to marry them with a lot of the decentralized values that we've grown to understand and explore further. And we do a ton of research as far as how can we structure a business or how can we structure an organization to scale without kind of losing weight to entropy. And a lot of the problems with DAOs is there's a lack of commitment, there's a lack of incentive, there's a lack of resources, and we are trying to combat that in more traditional means. And kind of boiling that down, what that amounts to is we're essentially like a broad-reaching kind of venture DeFi type firm that is trying to back all of Fantom, or at least trying to back every single market domain in Fantom or business domain in Fantom, so that we can kind of take the network to another level. And like I said, this is like a really quiet endeavor. This is something that, if you're a leader in the space or you're a business in the space, you're acutely aware of. But if you're an investor, then it's like, you know, well, all it is Reaper.farm. What the heck are those guys doing with all those people? But we do a ton of work and we are on the cutting edge. And when I say we're 30 people, I mean we're 30 full-time workers with apprentices on top of that, contractors, part-time workers on top of that. So we're the biggest team on Fantom besides the foundation itself, and we're constantly growing. And we've got a lot of projects in the works, like I said. But yeah, right now our biggest business is business to business. So you know, as we get more retail friendly things going, then you'll probably hear a lot more about us. But for now, we just kind of move in the shadows and keep marketing to a minimal. We like to under promise and over deliver, and keep our focus on our clients, and on kind of pursuing excellence, whatever it takes.
I like that. And I liked how you said it's like a DeFi company. It reminds me of Silicon Valley, back in the day, with the startups, everybody, like moved to California and did that thing. And I'm seeing crypto and DeFi being similar. And what you guys are doing is like you're building up a super deep foundation first, as you just said. You have the lawyers, practically a law firm, you got the developers full time, and now you're more focused now with the business and helping other business, other projects. So it reminds me of like a software development company primarily, and like doing it legit and not just hype, etc. Because I get a lot of questions like, what is the oath token, like what's the purpose behind it?
Yeah.
But based on what you're saying, it seems like the developers there, you guys got a lot going on and you don't care about the marketing necessarily. You're just here for a long time building that foundation up.
Yeah, we see kind of like we research trends in DeFi obviously a lot. We research history. We look to see how things have gone in the past and where things are going. And a lot of what we see is there's so much speculation, that assets tend to get overvalued really quickly. And so right now, like we're funded, we don't need to try to shill you on the next thing or the next thing or the next announcement of the next thing. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the companies doing that aren't going to be around in a year. So really, what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep as quiet as possible, and kind of accumulate weight in the background before we kind of come to the market hard, with some of our more interesting products. And we're just a quiet group, and we make really big moves. And yeah, just recently, like I've been meeting with the Fantom Foundation and other people who are kind of peripheral to the DeFi space, and we realize like a lot of people have no idea what we do, which is pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, again, like we are learning a lot from traditional business development, and smashing that together with what we've learned from DAOs, and trying to create kind of an ideal middle ground. And we've been really successful so far, and we're imprinting a lot of what we've learned and a lot of our research on our clients. And that's, like I said, a really big part of our business is ensuring that the companies on our books can be uber successful, is our ultimate goal.
So let's go a little bit deeper into that because we're talking about how Byte Masons is more of a software company. Let's talk about revenue, right? Because you were discussing about helping out other businesses, etc., businesses
Yeah.
on the books. If you do consultations, are you getting like paid in that regard? Is the revenue primarily from Reaper Farm? Like, how is the revenue coming in? Because you said you guys are funded and pretty much you're secured
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, I mean, we basically pay bills with revenue from Reaper. That's kind of our day to day. A lot of what we focus on with our business to business engagements is creating like a big balance sheet, equities, high growth assets, and just having access to those going forward. Because, like, kind of how we segregate risk in our company is like, you know when we deal with money, when we deal with stable coins, when we deal with things that are highly liquid and we can actualize, in an instant, we're very careful. So when you're talking about, cash on hand, we ensure we have years of runway at any given time. But when it comes to like the really high value stuff, the high value work that we're doing, um, kind of the goal is to acquire equities and assets. So a lot of these engagements are focused on generating equities, and taking on kind of assets to our balance sheet, so that we can, as we push it forward with software and with kind of our fee generation and things, we'll always have that piggy bank in the background that's growing and growing and growing. And we want to be a finance company. We want to be an industry leading finance company, and we're ignoring, like, we don't care about being an industry leading DeFi company. We want to be an industry leading finance company, period. So we're looking at kind of really long time frames for this, because it takes like some serious business and development to make that a reality. And you're looking at competing with literal giants, and we see that we have a competitive advantage in this DeFi space, which we believe will eventually encompass a lot of the finance industry. And we want to leverage that to be one of the best and biggest names, period. And to do that, we're taking a traditional approach. We're not trying to, pump and dump a token. We're not trying to, go to the moon. We're trying to, like, change the world. And to do that, you need to take really broad strokes. It's not about, painting a little picture. It's about creating an entire landscape. And that's kind of our focus. And again, that's the focus that we imprint on our clients. And part of that is because, I started off my career in DeFi as a security engineer. Our other co-founder started off as a security engineer. We are lucky enough to have that skill set, and we see security as the number one factor in scalability and growth in DeFi applications and DeFi businesses in general. So, having that weight behind us from day one has been a true blessing. And we're trying to spread it as far as we can. Of course, we're only 2 people. We're training up a security team, but, training security engineers is a long, difficult effort. But we've got a lot of talent on the team, and we hope to continue scaling and scaling and scaling and scaling until you're all really tired of hearing about us. But yeah, we're trying to do it with kind of the ethical vision of decentralized finance and accessible finance in mind. So we're trying to really push the industry toward more ethical practices, more transparent practices, and more for the public good, as opposed to for the board of directors good, or even for the investors good. We're trying to decentralize so far that hopefully the public will all be our investors to a certain extent. And we've got a lot of strategies to do that, and gain a really far reach that way. So we'll see how it goes. Education is a massive part of it. Learn.ByteMasons.com is, like, we don't do much marketing, but we have a pretty sizable marketing budget, and all of that goes into our educational resources, with the idea that, we're here to onboard and support the next 2 billion DeFi users. We're not here to chase after the market as it exists today, because the market as it exists today is going to be a drop in the bucket compared to what we see a long time from now. So the only way you can do that is by coming to market with unique products, accessible products, and products that will kind of excite users. But yeah, that's a lot about us. I didn't really
I
expect
have
to.
so many more questions. I'm just sitting here,
Yeah.
I'm like making a mental checklist. I'm like first off, and I'm gonna start off with the dumbest question I can ask. You ready for this? Is like you said you want to be like a big finance company. Can you translate that? Because there was mention of equities and like having that piggy bank, etc. I have certain ideas that I'm going to ask, but first off, when you say like big finance company, can you just elaborate that? Not explain like your 5 level.
So our goal is to provide financial services to the world, as opposed to just the DeFi market or our section of the DeFi market. Our goal is to um, create infrastructure that can onboard users that have never heard of DeFi before, and get them using our products. And this kind of is a similar vision to, like, the Fantom Foundations, like creating products that utilize and leverage DeFi that users don't even know is DeFi. And I feel that with the nature of crypto, like a lot of the other people taking this approach, the more corporate VC focused approach, aren't going to be able to seize on kind of the Gen Z market that's rising up, uh, because it's just like they're out of touch a little bit. And finance is changing, and we just want to create products to suit kind of the future of finance, I guess, is the classic. So it's really about taking on assets, packaging them up, and giving users a way to access interest and yield in general, and leveraging those assets to gain more assets, and just eventually be kind of a financial powerhouse. So exactly what it means to be a financial company in like 2050, we'll see. I mean, DeFi is going to disrupt a lot of financial markets. And the culture of DeFi is really infectious and strong. So I think we're going to see a lot of change, and basically kind of how we structure our business and how we set ourselves up is that we are equipped and prepared to capitalize on a lot of that change. And right now we're working on creating a lot of that change as well. What it means is kind of open-ended. It just means we're going to have a lot of assets on our books, and we're going to grow broadly, and try to capture as much market share of the finance industry as we can, because we see, finance as a whole is way bigger than DeFi. And a lot of companies, like I said, are taking like a traditional finance friendly approach, and they're just kind of reinventing the wheel with some added efficiency from DeFi. But we see more potential than that. And so we're trying to get a little creative with it, get a little experimental with it in a way that VC driven companies really can't. So we're utilizing a lot of our freedom to innovate and create businesses that are kind of badass. So yeah, kind of an open-ended answer, but that's what I got for you.
Man, I'm just so excited. I got so many more questions because, like, for example, I know in terms of innovation, there's the FNFTs being able to, let's say, like borrow against it. Like that is just one example, and I'm sure a lot of people are like, What are you talking about, Professor?" But just in general, the concept that you can lock up certain funds and an FNFT is getting you interest and yield, and then you have a lot of traditional finance stuff that you can use against it, and the ability and the innovation that happens with it is just mind-boggling. And to your point, maybe venture capitalists are not thinking that far down the line. They're like, whatever, they want to line up their pocketbooks. But with this runway and the ability to innovate, you are setting yourself up in a great position to do a lot of interesting and amazing things that other people in DeFi aren't doing.
Yeah, yeah. And going back to financial NFTs and the reliquary, like, you know, that's something that we're trumpeting and that we're really excited about. But it's also something that, I programmed in a few days. I mean, a lot of design and thinking went into it, but it is just like, one tiny aspect of a huge list of things that we do. Um, and we're super excited about it. A lot of the work that's gone into it is just making it developable and highly tested and highly secure. Like, it took me 3 days to write it, but the amount of time we've poured into making it absolutely perfect has been kind of the difference. Like, we want to create something that will be used forever and that people will fork forever. And we're creating our front end, like, we're not slapping together a front end, we're creating it so that the architecture itself makes it easy to fork and easy to use for anyone. And we're approaching like entire networks, entire up and coming like DeFi EVM type networks, and selling them on this. So again, it's like we are making much broader strokes than people realize. And a lot of investors, especially in DeFi, are kind of focused on, um, you know, deliver now, because they want that pump. They want that 10x return in a month that will go 10x the other direction a month later. And that's just like not who we're serving. The people we're serving are more mature investors, who would like to hopefully just hold on to something and be confident that they'll retire with it one day. That's like, in our marketing meetings, that's what comes up. Like we're serving the people who want to retire, who don't care about, like, having to work in the meantime. We want people with jobs behind us. We want people that, have responsibility and understand that, we're taking their security, like, so seriously. And we're taking their, the fact that they've trusted us with funds, so seriously that, we want to be the option. And, a lot of that is kind of building up a reputation, which takes a long time, and takes a lot of effort. But it's something we're working on, and we're just going to keep working on it, and hopefully eventually be kind of an industry name. And a lot of that comes with like growing Fantom, and making sure Fantom is kind of preeminent. But we're kind of reaching all over the place right now with some of our services and businesses.
Have other projects on different chains taken notice as to what Byte Masons is doing, what you guys are doing?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, like, again, it is like a lot of what we do is B2B. So it takes like you kind of need to be in industry or very like industry adjacent to understand what it is that we're doing. But I have meetings with people from all sorts of networks, all sorts of projects, um, and at least half the time people know who we are, and I'd like to improve it from there. But it is like people do notice, and people, like, for our LGE, a lot of people went cross chain to participate. And again, like, we're directing a lot of what we're doing toward mature investors because we don't want a hyper volatile token. And we want people that don't want to watch the market all the time and trust that what they're holding will be relatively secure. And we're trying to really broaden our horizons as far as what markets are we touching, how are we touching them. Kind of a weird way to put that, but we're trying to really broaden our horizons so that there's no single point of failure. There's no killer flaw in our strategy. And we're just trying to create, we're trying to be the alphabet. We're trying to be the meta. We're trying to be kind of the overarching DeFi firm that touches every business domain, that touches every market in finance and even beyond finance. And we're just doing the research it takes. We're making the hires it takes, and we have a unique ability to attract and train talent, and we're using that to its fullest extent. So you'll see more of us, and yeah, I would say get used to seeing the name Byte Masons. We have design patterns we created to hide our logo in all our software, so when people fork it, it's next to impossible to remove.
Oh, that's awesome. Be
um,
like,
but
"We are the first innovators," and you're like, "Are you though? Are you though?
yeah,
What's our logo doing in there?" Oh.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're inviting people to fork it, and we don't want to like make a license or anything. So it's more of like just having fun than anything. And we don't want it to interrupt people's styling and branding. But we do want people to know who we are, and we want them to be aware that one, we're coming, and two, we're also already here. We're just thinking about how to approach retail in a way that is unique and exciting. And yeah, we're slowly but surely meeting our goals, and we're going to hopefully keep doing so.
Love it. Now, you may not like about the extra questions that are coming here from the financial side, but I'm still very curious. When you're working with these other businesses, and like, let's say, I'm sure they come and say, "Can you take a look at our security?" And
Mhm.
it takes time. Like, how is Byte Masons getting compensated? Are you guys doing that more of just like, "Hey, we want to build a reputation, just be well known"? Are they these projects saying, "Okay, here's some tokens, thank you for the time," and then you put that in the piggy bank and you're like, "We're just going to accrue interest and add it to our balance sheet. We good." Like, can you give me some more insight into that?
So when we create a relationship with one of these companies,